As a chronic overthinker, I am always wondering what other people think of me. And it's not always necessarily in a toxic way. Sometimes it is a little bit in a toxic way because it's kind of related to having other people's approval of me when I don't even know who they are and they don't even know me personally. But sometimes it's just out of genuine curiosity like, how do people view me? What kind of person do I look like compared to other people? And what kind of person am I if looking at it in a non biased way? So, for today's episode, I wanted to take some personality quizzes because I know who I am and I know how I like to be, but sometimes I really am just curious like, how do other people view me? How do other people see me? What kind of person am I? And to be fully honest with you, I have been experiencing, you know how sometimes writers get writer's block? I feel like I've been getting that when it comes to the podcast. Like, I haven't been very inspired when it comes to thinking of topics. And even the last episode that I posted, the time between that one and the one before was 2 weeks. And I have not done that since I started the podcast. I only started it back in December, but I have consistently posted every single week since I started, and I don't know, I feel like I kinda just hit this wall and I didn't really have very many ideas. Hopefully, now that I'm not as overwhelmed with school and everything, I'll have more ideas and have more to talk about because my mind was always other places, and now I feel like I can finally relax a little bit. I'm basically done school, I'm done classes, but I have one more assignment that I need to turn in. I'm going into school tomorrow to hand it in. I have to hand it in person, which is kind of annoying because that means I have to go all the way to school just to hand it in person. I'm so relieved that I'm almost done. But I feel like because in my mind, because classes are done, I feel like I'm done. So I've just been putting off the last few assignments, but I just need to get it done, get it over with. By the time this is posted, I'll already be done school. But yeah, so the last one that I posted before this one, the reason there were 2 weeks in between the two episodes is because I had been really overwhelmed with school. And I honestly just genuinely didn't have time. I was too stressed, and I explained that in the video. But for this one, there was no reason. I just wasn't very motivated last weekend. I usually film my episodes on the weekends and I post on Thursdays. I just wasn't feeling motivated. I don't know what it was, but yeah, I feel like I've just hit this brick wall when it comes to ideas. And because I don't work with a team, it's not like I can really bounce ideas off of other people. Like, I'm sure there's ways I can do that without having an actual professional team who works with me. I don't know, I've been kind of overwhelmed. I know that I feel like things are starting to calm down. It's going to be a bit better. But yeah, so the personality quizzes episode is one that I had written down. I have a little list of ones written down, which I can kind of do at any point throughout the podcast just in case I'm running out of ideas or I don't really have any ideas for that specific week. Because simply when I talk about stuff, I talk about stuff that's been prominent during that week. So I think about something that happened and I use that as inspiration for what I'm going to talk about. So, for example, the last episode before this one, it was about no longer being so hard on yourself. And that was inspired by the schoolwork that I had been putting off because I was so overwhelmed with it and I was really hard on myself. Like, why did I wait so long to start it? So, yeah, this is just one of the ones that was kind of on the back burner. Like, if I don't really have an ideas, I can bounce onto this one. But again, like, I think I am just curious. I think it's gonna be fun. It also took me so long to find a setup for today's video because I don't know. I just felt so crusty. I didn't know what it was. I don't know if it's just my perception of myself or if I actually just look weird. Let's hope it's not that I actually look weird because I don't want to not want to post it after filming this entire thing. So let's hope it's all in my head. But I finally found a setup where I can stomach looking at myself, which is I don't know, I'm just gonna blame the lighting. Also, I got my nails done last week. Look how cute they are. I don't know if you can really see. Maybe I'll put a better photo in if I have one. But it's like a little flower. It's so cute. But anyways, let's get started. So for the personality quizzes, some of them I genuinely just searched a personality quiz and I clicked on some that popped up. Some of them I thought of myself, but I have four open right now. I don't know if I'm going to do all of them because honestly, I don't know how long they're going to take because I'm going to go through all the points, explain why I'm selecting that one. You know what I mean? There's going to be explanations behind. So honestly, I don't know how long it's going to be, but I have one that's about my most accurate strengths. There's one about my attachment style, one about my personality. I think this one is about whether or not you're introverted or extroverted. I'm not sure, but there's two that are related to personality. So I think this is gonna be pretty interesting to dive into because again, like I said, I know myself and I know how I am, but I always wonder what it looks like from another person's point of view and when it's actually being analyzed. Okay, I think I'm gonna start with the accurate strengths one. I honestly don't really know what to expect. Like for all of them, I opened it up and looked at the first question to see what kind of quiz it was, and then just went back. just to get an idea. Because if the first question was like super complicated and confusing, I wasn't going to use that one, you know? Okay, the first one is I am energized every time I cross another item off my to do list. And it's on a scale from 1 to 5, 1 being strongly disagree and 5 being strongly agree. Yeah, I would say I do get really energized when stuff gets crossed off my to-do list because I have an actual to-do list on my iPad. Every time I have something going on in the future, even if it's in 10 months from now, I'll write it down so I don't forget. I'm able to store it in my brain, but I find it just gets really overwhelming. So being able to write it down in my reminders and then I check it off, I find it's really, really effective. And yeah, it makes me feel pretty good when I check stuff off my to-do list because then it's one less thing to be stressed about. So I would say like a 4. I would say a 4. Next, I love turning clutter and chaos into order and structure. Yeah, I would say so. I would say so. I would say yes because I don't really work very well when I'm stressed, which is kind of weird because something I talked about in my last episode is often I'll leave tasks last minute without even meaning to. So I don't know, they kind of cancel each other out because it's in those cases, it's like I don't do the task until it's actually urgent because then it works as a motivator. But at the same time, it's really hard for me to actually work when rushed. Like when I'm being rushed, I can't think, I can't do stuff, I get really overwhelmed. So I really need there to be structure. I need things to be organized. And it's also whenever I leave it last minute, I always regret it in the moment because I'm super overwhelmed. So I'll say like a 5. I agree with that one. Okay, next one. I believe it is important to tell the truth to others, even if this truth is bitter. I feel like this is a hard one. I feel like this is a hard one because I don't know. I find sometimes it's really hard to tell the difference between telling the truth and just being mean. And sometimes I'm like, is this something that I should say? I don't know. I don't know. I'll say like I like being truthful and I like being honest, but sometimes it's hard for me, but I still do it. So I'm gonna say, yeah, I'm gonna say like a 4 because even if it's hard, I still do it. I don't like lying to people. Even if the truth is bitter, I wish there was a little more context for this. Like if they could give an example what I would do in this situation. Because the thing about this, it really can be taken in any kind of way. So, I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna say like a 4, I feel like. I don't know. Okay, I'm good at paying attention to details. I pick up on so many details. I'm immediately gonna say a 5. I remember things that people tell me. Those things stick with me. Yeah, I would say I'm pretty good at paying attention to detail. Just because whenever I do something, I want to do it well. And when I grow connections with people, I want to know them well. Something that's really big with me is when people who I care about say something, I'll remember it. It'll stick with me. If I care to, you know. I would say I'm really good at paying attention to detail if it's something that's important or something that I care about. If it's something that's really not relevant, it's not going to stick because I'm purposely not going to retain it. What is it called? Is that called like selective memory? I would say like I pick up on really random details. Like I'll think back on situations or remember things that happened years and years ago that other people probably don't. And I'll even remember specific details with the situation. So yeah, I would say I'm pretty good at paying attention to detail. I'll say like a 4. Okay, next one. I enjoy my time alone when I can muse and reflect undisturbed. I love my alone time. I love my alone time. I would say I used to spend a little too much time alone. Like I would never go out and see people. I will say I've started to go out a little more recently, go out and do stuff, and I'm definitely more of a homebody. I really need my alone time. Some of my friends, they're always on the go, always doing stuff, and I don't understand how they don't have their time by themselves in their room at the end of the night. I love going to my room just to relax. I need my alone time. So I'm going to say a 5. I believe that time is too precious to be wasted being disorganized. I mean, when I think of disorganization and being disorganized, I don't really look at it in the way of time is too precious. I kind of just look at it as it stresses me out if I'm not organized. I mean, I think I would say yeah, I would say I agree because I don't know. For some people, it's hard for them to stay organized. For me, it's kind of just something that I do instinctively. I would say yes in the way where life is short and there's no point in causing yourself extra stress throughout your life. And I think for a lot of people, being disorganized, for some people, they just instinctively do it. It's just kind of a habit of theirs. But I think no matter who you are, it does cause anxiety whether you realize it or not. It could be subconscious, but yeah, I would say I would agree with that. I'll say like a 4 because I mean, for some people it works, but I think for a lot of people, disorganization does cause extra stress. And I think you should spend your life trying to avoid extra stress as much as possible. Like, if it can be avoided, it should be avoided, you know? I'm gonna say like a 4. I believe multitasking is ineffective for achieving meaningful results. I would say yeah. I would say yeah. Because, I mean, for some people, they multitask because they think it's most effective. But if you want to do something where the quality is actually going to be good, I really do believe in quality over quantity in a bunch of different parts of my life. I think yeah, because when I have a lot of stuff that I have to get done, I'll get overwhelmed because I'll just be thinking about all this stuff. Once I take it step by step and I focus on one thing and then move on to the other, I find my results are better. So I will say like a 5. I agree with that. I naturally take mental ownership and responsibility for even the smallest things I commit to. I don't know if I fully understand this one. Wait. I mean, if they mean that in the way where it's like no matter what you're doing, no matter how small the task, you put like a lot of effort into it, I don't know. Guys, I kind of want to like do the other ones first and come back to this one because this one is really long and I don't know how long these are going to take. Okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'll come back to it later, maybe, depending on how long these take, because I don't even know. What if it's one of those things where it doesn't even give me the results unless I like subscribe to it? You know what? I'm gonna do the other ones first and then go back to that one later. Okay, let's start the quiz. This one is my attachment style. Okay, number one, are you in a relationship? No, I am not. What is your relationship status? I'm gonna say, wait. Okay, it says prefer not to say, single, recently ended a relationship, or still looking. I feel like I want to say still looking because it's something that I want. Single is more like you want to be single and you want to stay single, you know? I think because both options are there, I'm going to say still looking because I definitely do want something like that. 3, I can be very emotionally present with others, like friends, family, partners, and strangers, but it takes me a while to build trust and share vulnerable things about myself. Honestly, I feel like that's false. I find I'm a pretty open book, considering I have a literal podcast where I overshare. I would say false. I would say false. 4, I often put other people in my life on a big pedestal. I don't know, that's kind of a hard one. I would say yes in the way where it's like my circle is pretty small. So the people that I do decide to spend my time with and put my time into, I have so much love for them. So I would honestly say true. 5, I feel naturally comfortable and safe expressing my feelings and needs to loved ones. I would say so, yeah. I'm pretty in touch with my emotions. Yeah, and again, like with the people who I care about, with the people that I love, I'm definitely pretty comfortable when it comes to expressing my feelings. 6, I feel very upset when others infringe on my need for space or time alone. I would say yes. I would say yes. Like I said earlier, I definitely do need my time alone to recharge because I tend to get like overwhelmed pretty easily. And yeah, just a part of my everyday, I need my time alone. So if someone's trying to interrupt that, sometimes it's a little upsetting. So I'll say true. But I definitely still have that balance. You know, when I don't want to be out of my room, when I want to be out socializing, I do. But I do sometimes need my time alone. And I stand up for that, you know? 7, I'm willing to work through challenges in a relationship before suddenly trying to leave the relationship itself. And it says, if you're not in a relationship, think of how you would handle conflict in a partnership. Okay, I definitely I mean, I don't have much relationship experience. I have only been in a relationship one time, and it's when I was 16. So I was super young and it didn't last long at all. Neither of us were mature or ready for a relationship. It just wasn't a good situation for many different reasons. I would say, like, when I view a relationship, I know that sometimes there's going to be hardship. I know it's not all rainbows and butterflies all the time. You know, sometimes there's going to be disagreements, sometimes there's going to be challenges. I also have heard that once the honeymoon stage is over, things don't feel quite as lovey-dovey and exciting anymore, so that's where the difference is drawn. Do you have genuine love for this person and you're willing to work through everything with this person, or do you just like the excitement, you know what I mean? So, I'm definitely willing to work through it. I just think sometimes conflict is a little hard for me. Like, I really don't like conflict. I just want everyone to be chill and okay all the time. Conflict makes me really anxious, and I think that's why in the past I would often be a really big people pleaser because I just wanted to go along with what everyone was saying because I wanted to avoid conflict and wanted to avoid the extra stress. If it's someone I really care about, I wouldn't want to just end it over a disagreement. Like, I definitely would want to work for it. So I would say true. I tend to be out of touch with my emotions quite frequently. That's very false. That's very false. I feel a little too much for my liking. A lot of people say that empathy is a gift, but I find it can be really hard to deal with sometimes. I'm gonna say it's very false. I am a little too in touch with my feelings. 9, I am very attuned to others' needs and often put them before my own and resent it later. True. Again, with the people pleasing, I don't know if I can think of any specific examples right now, but I just want everyone around me to be okay all the time. And in the past, often I would put that before myself. I find recently, because I have a lot of love for myself and with maturity and growth and confidence, I've started to realize I do need to put myself first because there's only so much I can give out to others if I'm not putting enough into myself. So I would say true. I definitely have dealt with that before where I put other people's needs first and then I don't have any energy to put into myself, if that makes sense. 10, I constantly want to be emotionally close to my partner. This can also apply to my close friendships or romantic interests. Emotionally closer, I don't know. I'm not sure. What do they mean by emotionally closer? I would honestly say yes. I would say yes. I like to have meaningful bonds and grow close to people. So I guess I'll say true. Yeah. 11, I'm effective at compromising and communicating. Yeah, I would say so. I would say so. I don't really know how to explain that one, but I definitely do think I love communication. I actually hate it when people don't communicate with me because I like being on top of stuff and I like being aware of what's going on. So if someone's not communicating to me, it's really, really upsetting. I like being on the same page as someone and being aware of what's going on. So true. 12, it is very difficult for me to set boundaries unless I am angry. I can sometimes set excessive boundaries and push people away too dramatically out of anger. I find I don't get angry very often. Like I'll sometimes feel anger, but I don't really take it out on people very much. I try not to. I don't know. I would say like it's hard for me to set boundaries, but I don't know if I agree with the rest of the statement. So I'm just going to say false because again, like I said, I don't like conflict, I don't like yelling, so I don't get angry. I don't lash out at people very often. I honestly don't remember the time that I've lashed out at someone because I don't like doing it. So I'm going to say false. 13. If I notice my partner showing any signs of coldness, I panic and I want to get closer as quickly as possible. This often happens to me in friendships as well. That, where are the cameras? No, I am so good at reading people and I'm always so aware of my surroundings. So if there's even the slightest bit of like energy changes, I start overthinking. I start thinking, did I do something wrong? Do they not like me? And this happens even with people that I have so much love for, even my friends. Sometimes I'll be like, do they not like me? Do they hate me? Did I say something? Did I do something? And it's just this internal battle. So I would say true because when that happens, I start to panic and I'm like, what can I do to make things go back to normal? 14, it's not uncommon for me to experience inward emotional turbulence throughout the duration of my romantic relationship. This applies to close family members as well. Inward emotional turbulence? What does that mean? I don't know what they mean by that. I'm gonna look that up. Like, I know what turbulence means, but I want it to be put in the context of emotional turbulence. A state of intense, unpredictable, and rapid emotional fluctuation. I would say no. I don't think so. I mean, sometimes I overthink, but that's just my overthinking. That's not my emotions actually changing. So I would say false. 15, I often feel very hot or very cold towards my partner or family members. I tend to operate in extremes in how I relate to others. I would say false. I wouldn't really put it as hot and cold, black and white. I wouldn't really see it in that way, especially when it comes to people I care about and my family members. I have so much love for them, but it's just like neutral a lot of the time. You know what I mean? Like somewhere in between. I don't say it's either extreme all the time. Like sometimes I have a really good day with friends and then I'll feel like this really, really intense love and appreciation for them. Like yesterday, my family and I we went over to my cousin's house. They're not my actual cousins, but I think of them as cousins because their parents, I call them aunt and uncle. I've literally grown up with all them. Our parents are friends. One of the girls, she's 3 years younger than me, but she's genuinely my best friend. I have so much love for her. In my mind, we're the same age. She's so mature for her age. And again, we've literally grown up together. And yeah, we went to their house and then the four of us, my younger sister, and then my friend's sister, who is my sister's age, if that makes sense. I'm not using names. So, you know what? I'm going to come up with names to make the situation make more sense. So, let's call my younger sister Sarah, okay? We're gonna call her Sarah. We're gonna call the friend who's 3 years younger than me, we're gonna call her Riley. And we're gonna call another girl, Chloe, okay? Wait, I've low key already forgotten the names. Okay, so my sister is Sarah, and then I have a friend who's 3 years younger than me. Her name is Riley. She has a sister named Chloe. So Chloe and my younger sister are closer in age, so they're kind of friends. And then Riley and I are closer in age. She's 3 years younger than me, but again, we're so close. We're like sisters. We're friends. So, anyways, the four of us, it really didn't have to be as complicated as I thought. I'm so sorry. I hope this makes sense. Anyways, we went on a walk afterwards. It was such a beautiful day. We went on a walk. We got ice cream. It was just such a good day. And I don't know. I just had like a really good time and I just grew this like bigger appreciation for them on that day. I don't know. So like I'll have random bursts of like love for people, but it's not typically either I love them or I hate them. Like that's not really how it works with me. So I'm going to say false. 16, I know that I'm worthy of a healthy, happy relationship. Okay. I would say I feel like in the past I was never actually ready for something. A relationship is always something that I wanted, but I always viewed it as like, oh, it's gonna fix all my issues. Like if I'm unhappy, if I'm in a relationship, it's gonna fix everything. But before entering a relationship, you need to be happy with yourself. You need to have enough love for yourself because if you don't, you can't give love to someone else, because then you're just putting everything into them and you're not even happy with yourself. And also, if you're insecure and you don't love yourself, it's going to make the relationship really hard because then it might lead to like jealousy and overthinking. Like, you need to be secure and happy in and with yourself first. I would say now, like, I know that I'm a good person. I know that I give a lot of love to people. And now I know that I'm worthy of a happy, healthy relationship because I just know it myself and other people tell me. But in the past, the only relationship I've ever been in was toxic. It wasn't healthy. So for a long time, it felt like that's what I deserved. You know what I mean? It was really manipulative. So it kind of made me think that that's all I would ever find. And often I would want to go back to him because I didn't know if anyone else wanted me. But yeah, now I know I have a lot of love to give and I love myself. So I would say now I'm in a place where I definitely do know that I'm worthy of something like that. But I would say in the past, like that was kind of hard for me to see when I struggled with my confidence and love for myself. So I'm gonna say true. Now I know that that's something I deserve. Okay, we're about like halfway through. 17, when I feel hurt by a loved one, I often have a strong fight or flight response. I find myself wanting to push this person as far away as possible. I don't know. It's kind of hard for me to think about what I do in a situation like this because luckily I'm surrounded by really good people. So, I mean, sometimes I'll get a little irritated, but I don't really get hurt by them very often. I would say false just because I don't completely understand the statement. Again, I wish with these there was context because it can be pretty subjective. 18, I do not feel as though I need anything from my romantic partner or loved ones. It can be difficult to conceptualize how others would meet a lot of my needs. I would say that's false. The people around me do a lot for me. I have so much love for them. They bring so much good to my life, so I'm gonna say false. 19, I do not enjoy being out of romantic relationships. I often fear being alone. I would say that's true. When they say I often fear being alone, I don't think they mean that in a way of alone time. I think it's the thought of never finding anything. I find like I want a relationship so bad just as a way of, I don't know, I guess like reassurance that I can have something like that because I never really have. I do sometimes fear being alone and not finding anyone. So I will say true. But again, that's my overthinking. That's my like constant fear about the future. I wish I could just live in the moment and not worry about that because I know it's going to happen when it's meant to. But I will say true. I do get scared of being by myself. 20, if a loved one's behavior hurts me, I will express my feelings and try to understand what caused them to act that way. Yeah, I I don't know. I find sometimes it's hard for me to express my feelings again because the people pleasing. Because even if someone hurt me first, I don't want to potentially hurt them back by letting them know that they hurt me. You know what I mean? Because sometimes they're not aware. Or I don't know, even if they are aware, sometimes I just feel bad for, I guess, reciprocating the hurt, even if expressing feelings is nowhere near as bad as what they did to me. I don't know. It's like for some of these statements, I agree with part of it, and then for other parts, I don't agree with it. So it's like, what do I put? I guess if that's the case, I'd put false. I'm just gonna say false because I don't really know. 21, I hunger for closeness, but I fear the emotional difficulty of it at the same time. I'd say false because I do like closeness, but I don't really fear the emotional difficulty of it. So I'm going to say false. 22, I do not like making social plans with others in advance. I often fear being trapped by commitments with other people. That's false. I like making plans. I love making a plan. I don't like doing things last minute. I don't like things being canceled last minute. I want there to be a plan and I want us to stick to it. I don't fear being trapped because in my mind, I want to know stuff ahead of time so I can schedule stuff around it. If it's last minute, it's going to stress me out. So I'm going to say false. 23, I find that setting boundaries comes naturally to me. Again, with like confidence and trying not to people please as much, I have my own boundaries and I stick by them, and I'm not going to let someone pass them. I'd say true because I know what I like and don't like. So I guess it would come pretty naturally, yeah. 24, I focus much more on the relationships in my life than I do on myself. I find in the past, yes. Now I would say false because now I like to put more time into myself. So I'm going to say false. 25, I often feel protective over my space, privacy, and belongings. I mean, I don't know, like in what sense? Because I'm a pretty open book. I guess I would say true because like the stuff that I have, I cherish it and I care about it. If that's what they mean by that. Oh my gosh, guys, I've been filming for 40 minutes and I'm not even done the first quiz. I mean, for the record, I don't know how much of the footage is going to be cut out. Like, it's definitely not 40 minutes at this point. But I have two other quizzes that haven't even been started, and another one that hasn't been finished because there were so many questions. Also, this one says it takes less than 5 minutes. Obviously, it's not going to take 5 minutes when I'm explaining each one, but this would not take less than 5 minutes because I would need to analyze it either way. 26. I generally feel invaded when my partner or loved ones demand too much physical affection. No, no, I like physical affection. I love hugs. If I'm in a relationship, I love cuddling and being close to each other. I'd say false because it says loved ones. So if I feel the same way towards them, I'm not going to feel invaded. So I would say false. I would prefer to spend most of my free time with my partner if I were to be in a romantic relationship. It would be hard for me to want to do things separately. I would say false. Like I think the thought of being in a relationship, I would just want to spend all my time with them, but I don't think that's healthy. I think people need their own time apart and I know that maybe it would rupture something and we get on each other's nerves. So I would say false because again, I need to maintain my own life and my own routines outside of the relationship. My whole life can't just be revolved around it, you know? Because you lose it and then you lose everything. So 28, I feel that it is easy to be vulnerable with my romantic partner or loved ones. I'd say true, yeah, because I trust them. 29, I find that my partner or loved ones usually emotionally recover from conflict before I do. I would say that's true. Again, with the conflict, it's hard for me to get over it. It's even like sometimes in the past, I did something really small and I feel bad for it years later when the person I did it to probably doesn't even remember. Like, I remember when I was like 15 or something like that, I borrowed my older sister's sweater to wear to a family gathering and then I accidentally got mustard on the sweater and I felt so bad for it. And I still think about it to this day. And I know that's not like conflict, but I would say, yeah, stuff just tends to stick with me. So, 30, I deeply fear being abandoned by my partner or love interest. Yes. Yeah. I think because of past experiences, like being the second choice or I don't know, just not being a priority and like someone not only having eyes for me. I don't know, sometimes I get worried that either my friends are gonna have a friend that they like better and they're gonna abandon me. Or yeah, the thought of being in a romantic relationship or even just talking to someone, it stresses me out because it feels like everything I do determines whether or not they're gonna keep talking to me or go off to someone else. I think it's the trauma speaking, but yeah, I would say true. I get worried of losing people. How familiar are you with attachment theory? It says not at all, a little, somewhat familiar, or very familiar. Honestly, not really at all. I'm going to say not at all. 32, what are you hoping to achieve today? Figure out how to get my ex back, learn more about myself and heal, improve my current relationship, understand the person I'm dating, finding a compatible partner. I guess learn more about myself. How old are you? It has age ranges. So I'm gonna put the 18 to 24. What is your gender? Female? Oh my gosh. I have to fill out a form. Of course I have to fill out a form to see my results. It's fine. It's gonna send me an email, I think. Okay, wait. It said they emailed me my personal report. Wait, where do I go? My email? I'm confused. I thought it was gonna be simpler than this. I didn't get anything. What is this? Okay, wait. Okay, I got an email. It says my attachment is secure attached. It says you're a great partner and friend. You're an empathetic person who connects with people easily. You feel confident in who you are. You let people in easily but have healthy boundaries too. You have strong conflict resolution skills. But in your relationships, the following can make you feel anxious. You end up in relationships that feel wildly out of balance. Your relationships can drain you. You get frustrated with poor communication. You struggle to understand exactly how to support your partner. You don't always get the respect or appreciation you deserve for your efforts. Sometimes you get triggered, but you don't know why. For you to feel safe in a relationship, the top things that you need are clear communication, healthy boundaries, mutual understanding, respect, and healthy foundations. The best type of partners for you are people that are actively working on themselves and are great communicators. I would say that's very accurate. It's very accurate. Wow, they call me a good person. They call me a great partner and friend. I'm flattered. Okay, what should we do next? I actually got results, guys. I was worried it was gonna be like subscribe and pay to get your results. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Are you kidding me? Okay. Next I'm gonna do this personality one. Honestly, I don't remember which one this says. It just says start test. So let's see. Choose how accurately each statement reflects you. It basically has 5 different dots for either strongly disagree, disagree, neutral, agree, or strongly agree. I strive for accuracy and precision in all of my tasks. I would say agree. Next, I notice even the smallest inconsistencies and errors in my work. I would say agree. I'm very self critical. I'm very hard on myself if I feel like I'm not doing the most I could be. I'm able to maintain high standards even under tight deadlines. Yeah, I would say so. I say, like, even when it comes to work assignments, even if it's just worth like 2% of my grade, I put everything into it. I try to put a lot of work into it. Yeah. I frequently check my work to ensure it meets the required standards. Agree. Improving and refining systems or processes is a priority for me. I don't know. Wait, improving, it's like I'm reading it, but I'm not actually internalizing what they're saying. Yeah, I would say, I mean, I try to improve stuff. I guess I'll say agree. I don't know. Should I just put neutral? Because I don't really know what they mean by that. Also, I'm not gonna go back to the first one I was doing. I'm gonna do this one, then the one after, and I'm not gonna go back to the first one because that one is really long. I don't want to talk forever and ever and ever. No one's gonna stick around. But I'm also not gonna delete the footage. Okay, improving and refining systems or processes is a priority for me. I guess I'll just say agree. I don't know. Okay, next. I can become critical of myself or others when mistakes are made. Yeah, I do get pretty critical. But I would say, like, when it comes to other people, I'll notice it, but I'm more hard on myself when I make a mistake. So I'm going to say agree. Ensuring that every detail is correct before completing a task is important to me. I'm going to say agree. I often find ways to improve methods that are already considered efficient. Yeah, I try to do the most sometimes. When given feedback, I focus on the details to understand how to improve. Yeah, I would say understand the details. I think it's also though sometimes I don't always pick up on the details because like no one is perfect. Everyone can receive feedback, but when I receive feedback, I get really hard on myself on the fact that what I did wasn't perfect. So I definitely would say I focus on the details because I try to get it to as close as perfect as possible. So I use that feedback and I apply it when trying to switch stuff around. Next, my work environment is organized and everything is a specific place. Yeah, I'm pretty organized. I feel a strong sense of responsibility to correct inaccuracies for the benefit of others. Yeah, I would say so. I am often the person who others rely on to find and fix mistakes. I don't really know. I mean, like when it comes to schoolwork and stuff, I find sometimes people will reach out. Like, I don't know if they rely on me to fix mistakes, but I think I'm pretty good at problem solving and trying to find solutions to stuff and trying to like remain calm and positive in stressful or negative situations. And like I say that as a very anxious person, I will say it doesn't always work, but often I keep the anxiety to myself and I try not to stress anyone else out, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna say neutral because I don't really know about that one. I naturally sense when someone needs emotional support. Yes. Guys, I'm so good. I'm so good at reading people to the point where like I become overly aware and I'm like, oh, that person was judging me. It's beneficial when I'm trying to read someone and figure out what someone needs, but it's also annoying when I'm just going on about my day and I notice someone's facial expression and I'm like, oh, they were probably judging me. Or it's even if I'm reading it wrong, I just see something and I just overanalyze what I see, if that makes sense. Next, I take active steps to help others without expecting anything in return. Yeah. Yeah, I love helping people. And I feel like in the past, I would sometimes feel like I don't deserve the return. Like, I almost felt responsible to make sure that everyone around me is okay. Next, making sure others feel cared for is a priority in my relationships. Yeah, strongly agree, I'm gonna say. Okay, next. Only 15% of the way? What? Because it said 20 steps, but the thing is, for each step, they have 5 questions. So I thought it was only going to be 20 questions. But that's not 20 questions. Wait, 20 times 5? Isn't that It's 100 questions. I thought this was going to be short. Okay. I find it easy to build and maintain close personal relationships. I would say agree, yeah. I often put the needs of others before my own. I don't know, like in the past, I was more of a people pleaser, but I say now I care a little more about myself and my well being, and I know what I need. So I'm gonna say neutral. Like, I try to help others, but I also try to put my well being first sometimes too. I am comfortable expressing affection and care towards others, yeah. Agree. My happiness is closely linked to the well being of the people I care about. Yeah. If people around me aren't great, it stresses me out because it's like, what can I do to help? And I almost feel responsible for it. I am often approached by people who seek comfort or advice. Yeah, I would say so. Helping others makes me feel valued and fulfilled. Absolutely. I love helping people. It gives me this rush. I love it. I'm gonna say agree. Being appreciated for my contributions is important to me. Yeah. To be loved is to be seen. Sometimes I'll do stuff and people won't really notice and it's kind of upsetting to me. And I think it comes from validation, like people being able to recognize that I'm worthy and that I'm good at what I do. Setting and achieving goals is a fundamental part of how I define success. Yeah, I would say so. I'll say agree. Because you kind of need to set goals for yourself, you know? It doesn't have to be anything intense, but it's more about like knowing what you're working for, you know? If you have a goal, it's a bigger motivator. If you don't really know what you're working for, it's not going to be super motivating. You're going to be like, why am I doing this? I'm driven by my ambition and the desire to be successful. Yeah. Sometimes I'll be sitting around and be like, I don't want to do it. And I'm like, no one else is going to do it for you. So then I do it. I am adaptable and excel in a variety of tasks and goals. Goals? I can't read today. Tasks and roles. I would say agree. When, like, if I get a new job or something or a new role and I don't know exactly what to do, it stresses me out. But I find I'm really good at picking up on stuff quickly and picking up on patterns. So, yeah, I would say I can adapt to environments pretty quickly because I'm really good at paying attention to detail and I'm kind of a perfectionist. So, that kind of comes to my advantage when it comes to doing new stuff, if that makes sense. I constantly look for ways to improve my efficiency and productivity. Yeah. Being seen as successful by my peers is an important motivator for me. I would say so. Yeah. Like I say, it has to do with validation, especially because my peers and the people I surround myself around, I know that they have valuable opinions, so those are the opinions that matter the most to me. I actively create and pursue new goals once current ones are achieved. Yeah, I would say so. I'll say agree. I adapt my approach if it means accomplishing a goal more effectively. Yeah, I would agree. Oh, I think I know why there's like five per every section. It's because the questions are related to each other. My creativity is often sparked by my emotional experiences. Yeah, I would say so. I feel like sometimes if I'm a little emotionally overwhelmed, there isn't really room for creativity. Like I said today, I've been struggling with podcast episode ideas because I've been a little bit overwhelmed and had other stuff on my mind. So I would say agree. I'm drawn to aesthetics and surround myself with beauty that inspires me. Yeah. I feel most alive when I'm creating something new and original. Yeah. My personal style is a true reflection of my unique identity. I mean, I would say so. I would say yes. I mean, I'm not saying I have the most unique style in the world, but with the confidence again and loving and being okay with who I am, I'm not constantly looking for people's approval and I'm not constantly worried about what I'm going to wear because of what others will think of me. I'm just going to do what I want because we live on a literal floating rock. Why would I live my life looking for other people's approval? You can't please everyone. It's generally not possible. So, I definitely say yeah. Okay, you know what I'm gonna do? I don't know if I'm gonna read all of them out loud. We'll see the results because I think you get a good idea of the type of person I am. Let's do it off camera because privacy and time alone to think are essential to me. Strongly agree. I am more interested in ideas and concepts than in social interaction. No, not really. No, I like spending time with people. I'm gonna say strongly disagree. That's my first disagree. Wow. I am vigilant about potential risks and always plan for contingencies. Yeah, I seek security and stability in my environment and relationships. Yeah, I love security. I love to be secure. I love knowing what's going on. I often seek advice or reassurance from others before proceeding. Strongly agree. Sometimes I don't trust my own intuition. Sometimes I need to bounce it off of other people and be like, is this valid? Do I do this? Next. I embrace change and adapt easily to new situations. I hate change. It's really hard for me sometimes. I'm going to say disagree. Like, I see the beauty in change, but it's hard for me to deal with it. New ideas and projects excite me more than the implementation of or follow through. Yeah. I love the idea of new ideas and projects, but then sometimes it's hard for me to go through with it, so I will say agree. I prefer to keep my options open rather than commit to one course of action. I don't know. I feel like often I'll settle on one idea and then when it doesn't work out, it really stresses me out. Like, I'd like to keep my options open to avoid stress, but my natural instinct is just to stick to one thing and focus and hyperfixate on that. So, I honestly don't know. I don't know. I'll just say neutral. Exploring and experiencing the world is a top priority for me. I don't know if it's a top priority. Like, I definitely want to go places and try new things, but I also know what I like and I like sticking to that. So I guess I'll say neutral. I am assertive in expressing my opinions and taking a stand. It's sometimes hard for me to do that, again, because of opinions. It really depends on the situation, so I'm going to say neutral. Protecting those I care about is just as important as standing up for myself. Yeah, absolutely. I am not afraid of confrontation and will face conflicts head on. I hate conflict. I hate confrontation. I'm going to say disagree. I really don't like it. Okay, we're 70% of the way. I really thought this was going to be a short one. The next one is, it says it's only 5 minutes, but with my explanations, it'll be a little bit longer. I'll just try not to yap quite as much because at this point, I don't know how long the video is going to be. I might have to cut stuff out because we're at an hour and 8 minutes of footage at this point. I think this is the most footage I've ever had to work with before. And I've been talking for most of it, so I'm probably going to have to cut stuff out. I naturally take on leadership roles in group settings. Okay, I think it depends on the situation. Let's say a group project at school. If someone else takes the role of the leader, I'll just go along with it. But if I'm in a group of like more introverts, I'll definitely play the leadership role. So I guess I'll say agree. I respect strength in others and am drawn to people who are also assertive. Okay, I admire it in other people, but it's hard for me to do it. So I'm going to say agree. I'm self reliant and prefer to depend on my own abilities. Yeah, doing like work with other people really stresses me out. I like being my own boss. I like doing my own stuff because the thought of having to rely on other people makes me anxious. I like being in control of it. That's definitely the OCD of like it's not in my control and that stresses me out. So I like doing stuff on my own because I know that if anyone is to blame, it's me. I can't blame anyone else. Avoiding tension and conflict is often more comfortable for me than addressing problems. Definitely. I think it's important to address problems, but it's also I don't know, like it's weird because I hope what I'm saying throughout this isn't contradicting because I love communication. I love being on the same page as people, but also conflict stresses me out. So I'll say neutral. Like I think avoiding it is comfortable for a little bit, but then it starts to get uncomfortable. So then you do need to address it. So I guess I'll say disagree. I'll say disagree because I like communication. I work to ensure that everyone feels heard and included in discussions. Yeah, absolutely, because I've been there before. So I always want to make sure that everyone's included because I've felt excluded in so many different parts of my life before. Okay, we're gonna do finish. Okay. I think it's actually gonna give me my results, hopefully. It better not be like, pay $30. Are you kidding me? Okay, wait, genuine question. I need to pay $1.95 to get my results. Do I do it? Do I do it? It's only $2. I'm gonna do it. I didn't do all of that not to find out. And it's only $2. If it was like 30, I wouldn't do it, but $2 is not bad. Okay, wait, give me a second. I'm gonna pay it. I got a text message with a fraud alert. It's not fraud, guys, it's me. I didn't think it was gonna be this complicated. Okay, approve. Oh, did it work? Why didn't it work? Okay, we're gonna try one more time. This is so irritating. They blocked my card. So then I had to text yes so that they unblocked my fucking card. I just want to do a personality test. It's $2. Why isn't it working? I know that I have the money for the $2. It's just being weird. Oh, it worked. It worked. Okay. It says I'm the loyalist. Oh, it gave me a full on document. They possess a keen sense of vigilance and risk management, always on the lookout for potential threats or challenges. They have unwavering loyalty and dependability. They prioritize the well being of their loved ones' communities, often going above and beyond to provide support and protection. Despite their capacity for managing risks, they often struggle with worry and anxiety, seeking security and stability, questioning and skepticism. This sounds a lot like me. These are like the core characteristics. Courage in the face of fear, despite their struggles with anxiety and doubt. They possess a hidden reserve of courage and resilience. Damn, this test is like glazing me. In times of uncertainty or doubt, they may seek guidance or reassurance from trusted sources. Primary motivations, fears. Oh, at the core of a type 6's fears is the dread of uncertainty and insecurity. Absolutely. They approach relationships with a strong sense of loyalty, dependability, and commitment. They prioritize trust and reliability, seeking partners and friends who share their values and often support during difficult times. They're deeply invested in the well beings of their loved ones and are willing to go to great lengths to ensure their safety and security. Okay, so basically, I just paid $2 and went through that whole fraud thing just for them to tell me exactly who I am. Guys, I already knew this. I'm gonna download that so that I have it. I didn't do all that not to keep it, okay? Okay, let's do the last one. Hopefully I don't have to pay for this one. Okay, I hope this is working. My mic died, and I have two of them. So I grabbed the backup one. This one was dead too, so I had to let it charge for a little bit. Anyways, this one I'm pretty sure it's about whether you're an introvert or an extrovert. So, let's see. Okay, you find it easy to make new friends. And then there's strongly agree, neutral, disagree, and strongly disagree. I don't know. I think it's pretty easy for me to be friendly with people, but like actual building genuine connections and friends, I would say it's a little hard sometimes, especially at my age. Like I'm almost 20. Everyone already kind of has their people. It's harder to make friends the older you get. So I guess I'll say neutral. I don't know. I think it depends. You could spend days learning about random things that interest you. Yeah, I could. I'm gonna say agree. When others are upset, you feel upset too. Yeah, I get pretty empathetic. And again, sometimes I feel like responsible, so I feel like I need to fix it. You aren't one for backup plans. I mean, I think backup plans are good. It's better than just completely canceling the plans. I think it's good to have a backup plan just in case. So I'm going to say disagree. You stay cool, calm, and collected even when under lots of stress. I think it depends. Like, I get very anxious pretty easily, but I'm also able to still find solutions. I just like keep working throughout the anxiety. So I'll say agree. When out and about, you don't really introduce yourself to new people. You prefer to chat with people you already know. I'm gonna say neutral because I think it depends on the situation. Like, I definitely feel more comfortable when I'm around people that I know, but I also have no problem meeting new people. So I'll say neutral. I think it depends on the situation. You don't like to start a new project until the first one's finished. Yeah, if I'm not putting my full focus into something, I find the results aren't going to be as good. So I like to do one thing at a time, basically. So I'll say agree. You easily spark up a conversation with a stranger. I think so. You tend to prefer following a daily routine as opposed to just doing whatever you want. Yeah, I love my routine. It makes me feel at peace. When you meet new people, you worry about whether you make a great first impression. Yeah. And then that's why I always overthink my interactions afterwards, or I'll like plan interactions ahead of time. You prefer solo activities over group activities. I think it really depends on the situation. There's some things that I like doing by myself. Sometimes my social battery is running a little low, so I like to do things by myself. But I also do like spending time with the people that I care about. So I'll say neutral because it really depends on the situation. You love watching movies that let you interpret the ending yourself. Not really. Not really. I kind of just wanted to end. Like, I don't like questioning. I don't know. I say disagree. Like, for the ending of the Gilmore Girls, I want to know whose baby it is. You can't just leave it hanging. You aren't interested in very many things. I'll say disagree. I'm a pretty curious person. You're an artistic type of person. Not really. No. Like, I'm creative, but I don't know if I would call that artistic. So I'm gonna say disagree. You prefer to relax before getting into chores. Yeah, agree. Wait, actually, I kind of want to change that answer because if my stuff isn't done, it's kind of hard for me to relax. You don't mind when other people are having a heated argument in front of you. I hate it. I hate it. It stresses me out even if I'm not involved. You like being the center of attention. Not really. No. Like attention can be good sometimes. It's validating, but I also don't want to be the center of attention all the time. I guess I'll say neutral. Like I think it depends on the situation. It's also the way that that's worded, it makes it sound like entitled. So I don't really know. If we're talking in an entitled way, no. If we're talking being appreciated for what you did being recognized, yes. So I guess I'll say neutral. I think it depends on the situation. Your mood is generally pretty stable. No. I I can get irritated pretty easily and I really hate it because I don't like being a negative person, but I think sometimes when I face stress, like my instinct is to go to fight or flight mode, so then I get really irritated really easily. Like I think I've seen stuff before that it means you're like on survival mode or something, but I don't know what I'm supposed to do about that. I don't know. But when I get stressed out, it's just not stable. It's all over the place. You have a hard time empathizing with people who come from a very different lifestyle to your own. I don't think so. Because even if we have different lifestyles, I find sometimes I'll try to connect my experiences to other people. Like I'll try to find things that we have in common, you know? So I'll say disagree. When there's a decision to be made, you want to make it right away. Not right away. I like to put some thought into it. So I'll say disagree. You tend to second guess the decisions you make. Absolutely. Yeah. I'm always questioning, always overthinking. You like to have a to do list for each day. I have a to do list for everything coming up, but I don't really have a to do list for every single day. But I have an internal one. I guess I'll say neutral or agree because, like, I always have an idea of what I want to do that day. So you often feel insecure. I mean, yes, but again, I'm more confident in myself now, so I'm gonna say neutral. I wouldn't really say often, but I definitely feel it sometimes. You prefer talking to people on the phone over texting or messaging them? Honestly, no. I'm gonna say disagree. Or wait, I don't know. I'm actually gonna say agree. The only reason I said disagree at first is because texting can be really fun sometimes, but I don't know, I just like actually talking to people, you know? I think it really depends on the situation. So I put agree, but I think it depends on the person. You're happy to go with the flow when your plans are interrupted. I'm okay with doing it. If we don't have any other choice and the plans are interrupted, I can do it. Sometimes I'll think about the plans and I'll have a specific vision and then it gets interrupted. I'm like, oh, that's what I wanted to do. But then I usually end up being okay with it in the end. So I guess I'll say neutral. Mistakes you made in the past often haunt your mind. Absolutely. Yeah, they stick with me. You prefer to rely on your instincts rather than sticking strictly to a set plan or schedule. Again, it's neutral. Like I like plans, but I like to follow my gut feelings. You often find yourself deeply contemplating the underlying meanings and implications of things rather than focusing solely on the surface details. Yeah. Strongly agree. Because I start to like imagine stuff in my head and then I start to get that confused with reality and what actually is going on. You feel most comfortable when your environment is organized and structured, and you may feel stressed or unsettled in chaotic or unpredictable situations. Yeah, strongly agree. Okay, I think we're almost done. You prefer spending time with a small group of close friends rather than attending large social gatherings. Absolutely. I love my little nights in. I love those. When making decisions, you prioritize logical reasoning and objective analysis, considering the facts and evidence before reaching a conclusion. No, because I often overthink and think about the different outcomes. So I'm going to say disagree, because I often jump to conclusions when I'm overthinking. Okay. It's making me pay $2.95. Do I do it? Like, why is everyone making me pay for a personality quiz? Guys, I don't want to pay again. I don't want to go through the whole fraud thing again. I did all that for what? I should have like looked into it ahead of time to make sure it's something that I don't have to pay for. Anyways, I'm not going to pay for it because it's probably just going to give me similar results to the ones that I got in the past. But anyways, I think honestly, like I don't know if I really learned anything new. I feel like a lot of this stuff was more just confirmation of what I think I'm like. So, I guess that was cool. That was interesting, but make sure you look into whether or not you have to pay for results before you do them. Because the only reason I did that with the one before is I was like, that quiz was so long, I didn't do all that not to get results. But then it just gave me exactly what I was expecting. So it was like it's only $2, okay. But then I'm like, I'm not gonna pay another $3 for another one. Like it's not worth it for the whole process, and I'm probably gonna have to do the fraud thing again. Like I don't want to do all that. Please pray for me that I get inspiration and ideas for next week because this is something I want to do so badly. Like, I love the podcast and I love coming on here and talking, and it's really annoying when I don't really have very many ideas. So, let's hope that I think of some. Thank you so much for joining me today. I love you, and I'll see you next week.